The Johnny program on UBC TV is brought to you by Blascon, Color Your World.
Hello, viewer. My name is Charles Uguel. I'm the director and founder of UMCAT School of Journalism and Mass Communication, and I'm currently the chairman board of directors of the same organization. Now, UMCAT stands for United Media Consultants and Trainers, and we started way back in 1996 in a small way. The first home was in a hotel called Hilltop Hotel, which was just somewhere up here in Sanyu Babies. And from there, we were there for about 1 month, where we began the training of 26 Ugandans as our first candidates. The environment then was, of course, a simple, I would say, simple environment, because the hotel was a small one, and we had a room of maybe we'd call in terms of size a room of 7 by 10 meters. And we fitted ourselves there and squeezed ourselves. And I'm happy that the students were committed, because the content we were delivering was like new content, which was giving them the direction where they wanted to be. So the environment was not as flamboyant as it is, but it was acceptable. Why? Because the attitude was positive. At that time, journalism was still growing, because I'll first tell you that there was only Makerere University that was giving the opportunity to train journalism. And that was in 1986. That's when mass communication started at Makerere University. And I was in the 5th cohort of the groups that went there. So at that time, we were only 20 that Makerere was taking. So there was unmet need broadly, that many young people wanted to study journalism, but the space was not available. And that's actually what gave us the opportunity to come and address that unmet need. So the space for training was limited. And when we came in, we gave the opportunity, and that's how we were able to get the 26 first people to come in and train. And many of them were actually people who were already working but had not gotten training. The idea of starting UMCAT it is very interesting. There were 3 provocations. Well, the first provocation was that I discovered there was unmet need, as I've already told you. The unmet need was that when we joined Makerere University, there were so many people who had applied for mass communication. Actually, when I made my inquiry, I was told the number was up to about 800. But Makerere was taking only 20. Now, where would the others go? Of course, for those who qualified to join the university, maybe they would be spread into other courses and so on. But there were many others who had passed to join a tertiary institution, but not Makerere University, and had nowhere to go. So I saw there was that need. And I said, now, if there is no other institution that is doing this, let me think of starting a private initiative to do this. And I started it basing on that. Then the second provocation was I had been employed, newly been employed in the means of information as a new information officer. I was very young then and so on, a graduate. And at that time, the president was holding a press conference at State House. So he was pissed off by a lot of rumor mongering and so on that he attributed to journalism in the country. So he made a comment that journalism in the country, in Uganda, is a profession of fishermen and fishmongers. So from that moment, we started calling ourselves fishermen and fishmongers. Every time I would see, we would come in and say, hey, you fisherman. And another would say, today I'm a fishmonger because I've been interacting with fishermen. I took some fish somewhere home. And we continued calling ourselves so. Until one day, one evening in the afternoon, there was a veteran journalist from New Vision, a cameraman called Grandma Mugerwa. May his soul rest in peace, he passed on. He came in to our office, and then I called him, hey, fisherman, welcome to Means of Information, UNAB, then Uganda News Agency. That's where we're working. So we began discussing the issue of fishermen and fishmongers. Then he told me a story which excited me. And I said, I think I need to take a step here and address this. He said that, the president had a point. There is a history that connects to this, why we are called fishermen and fishmongers. Then he told me, when Amin took over government, when he overthrew Obote, many professionals, including a few trained journalists who Uganda had, ran away because of persecution. And at that time, the country went void of trained journalists. And the same time, he chased away Indians who were basically industrialists. So the industrial sector also collapsed. There was no manufacturing in the country, and there was need for manufactured goods. So what happened, the Mafuta Mingi group, the Magendo group, came up. And these were the ones who were bringing goods from Kenya, and it was smuggling. And we were smuggling the goods through Lake Victoria. So now Lake Victoria became a hotbed for Amin's Marines, chasing smugglers and all that kind of thing. So people were dying on that lake because some would be shot, some would just drown in the process of trying to run away from the Marines and so on. And the fishermen on the lake were seeing whatever was happening. So when they come to the land, they come with that story. And they are telling this story to people who are buying the fish to take into the hinterland. These are the fishmongers. Now the fishmongers will take the stories into the hinterland, and the news about Lake Victoria became hot bread for the public. And it started being peddled all over the place. And the question now, what is new that has happened? What is new that has happened? Again, something has happened on Lake Victoria. And later on, towards, I think, the 1980s, there were now local newspapers, Luganda local newspapers. That was Muno and Ingabo. Now, these stories became the main news on these local newspapers. And the trend took that same direction. The news was from Lake Victoria. Who were the source of this news? The fishermen and the fishmonger. So the president's story was valid. But unfortunately, they were not trained. Now, we young graduates from Makerere University, I felt provoked, and I said, okay, based on that, let me go and start an initiative to at least provide basic training to Ugandans, and especially those who want to pursue journalism as a career. That is one of the reasons that led to the formation of UMCAT. And then the third one, it was clear that there were no private initiatives. As I told you, it was only Makerere University, and then the other was UMI at that time. And UMI was also taking people who were already working. So I thought, let me take the initiative and begin a private initiative towards this factor. And here we are, when I took on, we have UMCAT. So how did I start the name UMCAT? I just went and sat somewhere and said, now, what outfit should I think of? That is when I thought of the name, initially, Uganda Media Consultants and Trainers. That was the original name. The abbreviation UMCAT, and I felt it was a good one. It sounded well. So I registered the company as Uganda Media Consultants and Trainers, or UMCAT, and I began the training. The vision and mission of UMCAT is in two folds. When we started, the mission then was to provide access to journalism training for Ugandan young people who wanted to have that training. And our mission was create a private initiative that is cheap and affordable for them. And then the vision, when we started that, we wanted to aspire to be a leading media or journalism training institution that gives support for the growth and the development of journalism in Uganda. We began that, and we pushed towards that agenda, and indeed, we achieved that. In 2014, towards up to now, we changed our vision. We now desired, we aspired to be, as a vision, a center of excellence for journalism training in Uganda and multimedia innovation. That is now where we are driving. Having achieved the earlier objectives of creating access and increasing on the number of people who are trained in journalism, many other media training institutions have cropped up out of this kind of initiative. Now the ethics, the element of ethics has come up. And the question that has come up is on the question of responsibility, accountability, and ethics. So UMCAT, having been the foundation that created this kind of language you are speaking now, is also seeing that we must address the issue of ethics. And how do we do that? We must now rebrand ourselves and focus on excellence in journalism and innovative multimedia practice. That's the meaning of all that. And we are now driving that agenda. Yeah, the aims and objectives. One was to provide access to cheap and affordable training in journalism and media. And then two, besides that access, we also wanted it to be equitable. Because when we came on, remember I told you there was only Makerere University and then UMI. And even when we started here in Kampala. But then there was need in the West. There was need in the northern part of the country, West Nile, Eastern, and so on. So we came up with a deliberate agenda to take the opportunity nearer to these places. And our first place, by the way, was in Mbarara. Our first training, we conducted it in Katuba Secondary School, where we trained about 32 journalists, young men. And when we finished training them, we gave them certificates in basic principles of journalism and so on. They began to practice journalism. Then from there, we went to West Nile, Arua. We did the same in Arua, and we still remain within Arua. We moved to Moyo. We did the same in Moyo, and then we moved to Lira. We did the same in Lira, and then we came to Soroti. We did the same in Soroti, and we came to Mbale, and we did the same in Mbale. Then subsequently, the team said, we must now set centers in these places. And centers were set there. That's why up to today as we speak, UMCAT has a center in Mbale, has a center in Soroti, has a center in, the one of Lira was transferred to Gulu, is in Gulu and Arua. And then the one in Mbarara was closed because we discovered at that time, most of those young people, having acquired a certificate, wanted now to come and do a diploma in Kampala. So they all came and joined Kampala. So that was one of the objectives. And then the other objective, of course, was we also wanted to create a platform for practical journalism and value-based acquisition of knowledge in journalism and so on. So, because our experience in Makerere at that time, we were more of studying the theories of communication, whatever, and so on. But there was need for the practical hands-on. So we came in and we began that. And within the means that was available, we developed a practical journalist. And those are the ones who went out there and indeed they impacted. Largely, we were on the area of journalism, media, and communication. And we aspire to cover that largely, which included public relations, which included communication studies, which of course included getting to know how to broadcasting, radio and TV, journalism. And we moved with that for quite some time. Then later on, the team said we need now to expand on our menu. And several other courses were introduced. Now we have IT, which is also part of our courses. We also have library and information science, which is also part of our courses. And then business courses we are also co-opted. But these were done largely upcountry. Social works is now there, business administration is there, diploma in human resources is there, and so on. And these courses are also both national certificates and those are accredited by National Council for Higher Education. So we have spread on the menu. We have made fairly commendable milestones. One of the achievements that we would say as an individual is that UMCAT is now a brand for media training, and that is what we aspire to have. And we have it now, because I believe today, when you go to a media house and you talk of UMCAT, immediately people will think about journalism and media. That we believe, we don't take it for granted. It is an achievement. And then the second, which I would call is a national achievement, is that access to journalism training today is more easy across the country. Why? Because we took that initiative and planted a seed. And later on, many of our graduates have also gone and started media houses. So UMCAT has produced grandchildren, and these grandchildren are benefiting the country, because today a student from Kabale does not have to come to Kampala to look for an opportunity to train journalism. There are already institutions in Kabale. A student from Gulu does not have to come to Kampala. There are already institutions. And when you follow the history of this, you'll find that they're all connected to UMCAT. UMCAT gave the foundation. That is, we consider that an achievement. And the other achievement is that many of the products of UMCAT, actually, I'll tell you without fear or favor, that more than 75% of practicing journalists out there in the field have gone through UMCAT, and they are doing very well. Those who have impacted the media are doing very well. They have had connection here. I'll mention a few. One of them is Charles Odong Tho, who we see is challenging politicians and so on in these talk shows. Zambale, Blasio is one of them. You see the news anchors, Patrick Mukasa, who is on NTV, and there are so many others on NBS, and UBC has quite a number of them. So we have achieved something commendable.
Tuliko ground, Blascon, paint and win. Yes, yeah, Blascon paint and win. Tuliko ground, Chicho, buy paint worth 100K. Get a scratch card, SMS the code to 7197. Stand a chance to win instant airtime, 1 million shillings bully day there, or a share of a 3 million shillings jackpot each week. What do you want the brand new Podas, tuk-tuks, and so much more. Catch the paint and win action every Monday on Bukede One, NBS, and Sanyuka TV. Blascon, color your world.
Yeah, the challenges, of course, have been diverse. Right from the beginning, starting itself was a challenge because we didn't have money to start. But we had our mind. That was a good thing. We had a mind and a will to start. And where they say, when there is a will, there will always be a way. So that was our biggest asset, the will and the idea. And we planted it. But of course, you can't rule out that you still need some resources, financial resources and so on. Those have always been challenging because we did not get anybody to sponsor this project. We had to depend on the monies paid by students as school fees. Then the other challenge, of course, is that of technology. Journalism requires equipment for communication, for all these aids and so on. And these aids are not very cheap. The cameras, like the camera you're using, is not, if you don't have 5 million and above, you cannot have something that gives you good quality. And Today, of course, there has also now come a challenge arising out of a new ecosystem now. Today, we are talking about social media, internet. Internet has changed the dynamics of journalism, and much more. The question of responsibility, accountability, and ethics has come on top. Because before, when it was traditional media, you'd go to a school, you are trained, and then because they are also few, they would also ask you, have you gone through school? Once you submit that certificate, they take you on. But today, social media has changed the dynamics. People with smartphones are now peddling information everywhere, unprocessed information and all those kinds of things. It has now become a big challenge to us as trainers and to the nation as a whole. UBC and Radio Uganda, I was privileged to work there. I was a staff there at one time. This is a government broadcasting house, and every government needs a platform to communicate to the public. Why is it important? Because government has information that the public must get. And for your information, Hector, many times they say the information that comes from government is boring. And that is why the private people do not want it that way. Because what is government saying? Government is saying, please, children go to school. Parents, take children to school. Please, let's keep our environment clean. Please, let's respect the law. Please, and many people want to break the law. Now, and the funny bit again is that in the real definition of journalism, journalism is about news. And what is news? News is something with conflict, something bizarre, extraordinary. All of those, what many people would say bad things is what makes news. And that is what the private media want. Something that will attract audience. Now, if government does not have its own platform for communicating these serious matters to the people, then the country will be left into a lot of sensationalism, excitement, and so on. But of course, I'm not saying that the private media is being that holy. The professional media know what to do. But we have also been overflooded by the unprofessional media, as we have already said. I told you, rising from the social media now, that everybody is a journalist of his own. So UBC and both Radio Uganda, by then we used to call it so, and the other one was UTV, are very important for the country. Government needs it as its voice. Huja and these different associations of journalism, I think they have a lot to do. My view is that many of them need to focus on why they exist. And I think they need help to understand what the country needs and what is the role of journalism to society. UJA is the oldest journalism association in the country, but it has been, let me use the word, infected more by self-seeking individuals, not individuals who are focused on the real purpose why journalism is there. That's why you find many times there are wars within UJA. They are fighting each other, whatever, and so because they want those positions. Why? Because those positions give them the opportunity to be invited somewhere and travel. They give them opportunity for this. So they have not achieved what the country needs. And for me, I would say that there is more that they need to do. And all the other private media houses are actually not doing what they are being more of activists. Yeah, we have big future plans. You know, our mandate from the time we started was training students and awarding them certificates and diplomas. We have done that over the past 28 years that we have existed. And we are proud for what we have achieved. But now a need has come up. These people want to upgrade. And I think there is that unmet need also. Yeah, well, there are other universities that are providing opportunity for bachelor's degrees in journalism and so on. But these only bring this as departments. But with us as UMCAT, we are taking this out as our specialized area. And we want to build up a specialized university in the area of journalism, media, and communication. So we are working very hard, and the paperwork is on with the National Council for Education, and we have requested them to give us that opportunity for us to begin as the other degree awarding institutions, and they have applications, so we're waiting. They are advising us on what to do and so on. So very soon, the aspiration of UMCAT is now to be upgraded to university status. We've had quite a number, actually 15 graduations since we began. And there have been, of course, one, a platform for us to showcase what we have. And there have also been a platform for us now to sign a covenant and prove to society that, yes, we have been training these people now, we are giving them to you for employment. We have been accredited for the achievements. Yeah, we have won awards as among the top 100 mid-sized companies in Uganda, and we thank the organizers for recognizing us in that area. But also, most importantly, the Uganda Media Sector Working Group, which is under the Uganda Media Council and many other groups, they recognize us and gave us this as the best journalism school in the country, and for the good work we have done in training and mentoring journalists in the country. There are several of them. Government, we need to should put more interest in developing the media and the communication sector of the country, and get into the private-public partnership. And I'm happy that the private-public partnership has begun. Right now, as we talk, the NRM party, basically with government, has agreed with UMCAT to see how we advance the agenda of repositioning ourselves for the East African community through the Swahili language. So the NRM and the government and UMCAT have gotten into partnership to train Ugandans countrywide in Swahili. And we are signing the MOU this Wednesday when we are graduating the first group of students. So I encourage that kind of partnership to happen, and to give support, especially to media training houses, especially in the areas of acquiring equipment, because equipment is really very expensive and it's dynamic, changing every other time. If it is possible to exempt them from taxes, it would be good. To the parents, you have a responsibility to take your children to school. And journalism is one of the careers that children can. So when a child wants to do journalism, please do not oppress them. We have had cases where a teacher would want his child to go for to be a teacher. But please allow your children, and we are here to wait for you to bring them. And then the student, please, UMCAT is open. Admissions are going on. Come and apply and do journalism in UMCAT. I want to thank all our partners since we began. All media houses in Uganda have been our partners because they have been taking our students for internships, and they have been part of the other trainers. And besides giving them the jobs, because they are the employers, I want to thank them mightily from the bottom of our hearts. I want to thank UBC. UBC has been one of the great partners for UMCAT from the time we began. And even this very platform you have given me to speak about the journey of UMCAT is a great contribution. I want to thank you so much. We are located currently, this is our home where we are. We are located on plot 249 Bukesa in Old Kampala here. that is Chadondo Road. I want to inform everybody who'd want to contact us that you can call us on the following numbers. MTN 0772 435 950 and Airtel 0752 435 950. I say all this thanking you for listening to me for God and my country. Thank you very much.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Honorable Fred Biamukama.